Hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Friday, February the 14th, 2020, Valentine's Day. Representing. And we are here to talk tennis.
I saw a lot of people today at the store for Valentine's. I've never seen so many balloons, flowers, candy, and all sorts of stuff being bought today.
We don't normally do Valentine's Day. I don't think it's because we don't think about it. I think it's that with 5 kids, we're inherently busy, and sometimes there's just not enough time in the day. So we wanted to do the inaugural Valentine's show, and we're going to try to do this every year. So here's what we're going to do. Number one, let's get a little bit of history on Valentine's Day, because I must say I knew nothing about the origins of Valentine's Day. So can we get like a cliff notes on that? I mean, a quick, like a, what's it all about in the first place?
Sure. I mean, as in the United States, we celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th. And pretty much this is how Valentine's, I guess, was started. The legend of Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine, who according to some sources is actually 2 distinct historical characters who were said to have healed a child while imprisoned and executed by decapitation. The history of Valentine's Day and the stories of a patron saint is shrouded in mystery. We do know that February has been a long celebrated month of romance.
Okay,
that's just a brief nugget. I mean, we can go on and on and on about it, but that's a brief nugget. How it's
so historically, it goes back a long time, and it has, I guess, the inherent properties of a day of celebrating romance, love, etc.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. All right, so here's where I want to go with this. So let's do every Valentine's Day from here on out, that if you want to submit some type of poem, and the reason why I'm bringing this up poem is our kids had to bring, or at least the younger ones, had to bring these little Valentine's Day cards to class with a piece of candy or something. I mean, if it were me, I would have put some beef jerky or like a protein bar on it, but the kids wouldn't get down with that too well. So they would have, to, be my Valentine. There'd be a little poem on it, like, roses are red, violets are blue, be my Valentine, and I will like you, or something, right? You get what I'm saying, right? So I thought to myself, why don't we do something where the viewers, you all, submit a poem, maybe tennis related, maybe love related, maybe correlate the two, and the best poems we'll read right here. So think about it. So if you're out there and you have an inkling of poetry, which is kind of a wonderful thing in of itself, kind of tennis is like poetry.
I can't do poetry at all.
As much as I have learned to like Novak Djokovic, and again, I'm a diehard Federer fan too, tennis fan of all players, just saying, that watching Federer on the court is like poetry. It's kind of it's poetic. So what if you have an inkling or like poetry, submit a poem on this video in comments, and if it's if we get a bunch, great. If we get a few, I'll read them all. But let's do that. So I said, if I'm going to ask them to do it, then I'm going to do one. Let's get down.
No, you're still good at it. You just don't do it anymore. But when we first met, he used to write me a poem almost every single day, and I have a lot of them saved.
Okay, so I spent some time in hip-hop music. But anyway, so it has nothing to do with this poem. So I wrote a poem, and because it's Valentine's Day, I'll dedicate it to you in a bit, but in the grander scheme of things. So I wrote this in like 5 minutes, so it's got crap all over my paper. So hopefully it comes out all right. All right, ready to go? The block is hot. The block is hot. We actually had to do that, get warmed up back in the day. All right, so titled My Typical Day, right? My typical day. All right, here we go. My sink's over there singing.
They're waiting for you.
All right, my typical day. Here we go. So, my mind awakens every morning about 6. Finding you becomes number 1 on my list. Without you to start each endeavor, every moment feels like a painful forever. You have the ability to make me mad and really piss me off. So much so, I have to take many long walks. At times, I just want to snap, crackle, and pop you in the eye, but I know better than to ever attempt to try. On the tennis court, though, you have a very beatable game, but it is there that my heart makes its rapid change. You look so strong and pretty, so I just let you win. So yes, you can thank me for being such a good friend. At the end, at the end of the day, the kids go to bed, and then it's you that once again permeates my head. So every day when I finish my daily list, I am simply thinking, Carla, you better give me a kiss. That's how I get down. Can I get my kiss? All right. Let's roll.
Wow, I don't know to smile or to want to beat you up.
Let's get down.
He said I have a beatable game.
Very beatable.
And he just lets me win because...
I'm such a great friend.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope you enjoyed that, but you know...
That was a funny one.
It's nothing but the truth.
That was a funny one. That was a good one.
The truth. All right. Starting today's show, tennis-wise, I wanted to touch back base on the next generation cheesiness.
Well, before we get there, before we get to the new topic, yesterday we had two topics, right? We had why some parts of the world hate Novak Djokovic or don't like him as much. And then we talked about, is it okay to change your flag? We got many comments. A lot.
Good ones.
More than I've ever read before. And for the most part, most of them were, they didn't like when players change flags, for the most part. And then we had a lot of positive Novak Djokovic comments. There was one that I want to mention. It's pretty long. Is it okay if I read it?
You're the Valentine.
I'm the Valentine.
Let's get down.
You know, we always pick a viewer's comment, and this viewer, I've never seen him make a comment, but apparently he's a tennis fan. His name is Mirko M. And it seems like a lot of you guys know each other because you watch a lot of tennis channels.
Okay, I have not seen this comment. So she told me about it, but I told her I'd rather debate upon it because we disagree a lot on things. So I told her, let me just wait. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Firstly, you two are so likable and hilarious and great unbiased channel with great content. Well, thank you very much. Just recently, I wrote a few posts about Djokovic's case. I will use and add some of it. Sorry for being too long. I am from Belgrade, Serbia myself, so big Novak fan and familiar with local and worldwide media as well. As you said, he was the third wheel for a long time, and that was the biggest reason, but there are many more reasons. Roger is elegant, classy, poker face, eye-pleasing, attacker, Mercedes, Rolex, Swiss, top contracts, Anna Wintour, etc. Rafael, warrior, never gives up, strong, Roger's challenger, handsome, Nike, Kia, Spain, etc. Novak, gladiator, hard worker, more spontaneous, vegan, mental giant, poor family, patriot, Serbia, etc. Tickets for big matches are very expensive and rich ones and capitalistic part of the world. Easily relate to Roger as a capitalistic symbol. Novak has full stadiums in Sydney, but those people are left on the gates of Rod Laver Arena. They are watching in Margaret's Court screen instead of Center Court. Hedman Hill is full of Novak fans too. Plus, the majority of those tickets are sold out way before the matches, and Roger and Nadal supporters will unite in cheering against Novak because he's a real threat to Nadal. He is still in years of domination, which hurts them all. USA and UK are the leading countries in the organizing scandalous 99 NATO bombing of Serbia. There was a huge bad propaganda on both sides. I don't expect Novak to be well treated in Wimbledon and New York. It is not affecting people directly. People may have no clue where Serbia is, or even normal person doesn't judge by nationality. But there was, or still is, some unpleasing tone in the Western media about Eastern countries. In Serbia in particular, that is making Novak even more of a bad guy. They tried to provoke Novak, especially when he was younger, when those topics were fresh, introducing him as the Croat in the biggest example. Also, with things he represents and promotes, he still remains the symbol of socialism, which for the USA media, the symbol of socialism is one reason to hate. He spoke about being careful with promoting things. He refused Nike many times and other contracts as well. In his early career, Novak had some feud with Roddick and Roger. He was quitting matches which people couldn't understand at the time. In Murray's golden years, Novak was his biggest challenger, so the UK reporters were really tough and unpleasant towards him. All this created an additional bad media reputation in the USA and UK. On the other side, it's really hard to deal with Serbian media, and people and politics here are tough too. He is considered as the biggest ambassador of the country. He is expected to be a proud Serbian warrior, often portrayed as a fighter against cruel West. but at the same time respecting all nations and trying to teach people that Croats and Serbs need to support each other. Working with Ivanovic still made a controversy for some. For some people, he's just too rich to balance all that. He is a true magician. For all that, even in Serbia, you have Novak's hate club. And those articles, when Western media translate, that can sound misleading and harsh. One silly argument is that he is physically the least attractive of the three. I know many girls that fell in love with Nadal just because he's handsome and started to be his fans after that. Roger usually gets whistles while he's changing his shirt, while Novak never gets. Laugh out loud. Also, Novak's father is a bit tough to deal with. Some of his statements were not classy. That's how Novak gets 90% of the crowd against him, especially right now, even though he's having a lot of followers, supporters, and fan base overall. Maybe about 50% of Federer's fan base, but definitely big. Anyway, he is still the youngest of the three. He still has time, but with all that said and done, all of the big three will be missed. We will watch YouTube matches with nostalgia, where all the statistics left are fighting for that. So it's not such a big deal. That was long.
It should be long. It's one of those things that if you don't listen to it, and you don't, if you're not actually...
Go back and read it on yesterday's video.
It was worth reading. As I was writing notes there, that was kind of a homely comment. What was the gentleman's name? Sorry.
Mirko.
Mirko?
Mirko. M.
Okay, so is this the truth about Novak Djokovic? Is it pretty much spot on? I mean, the guy or gal, I don't know. I didn't see the name.
It was a guy.
So, I mean, he's from there, right?
Yes.
It's his countrymen, and I don't want to go back to yesterday's topic about patriotism. But again, I'm not going to go back to yesterday, but I'm firmly against changing your flag based upon where you train. It's where you're from, and we're not going to, for me, and I know we disagree wholeheartedly on that, but I'm sorry. If I die, I'm gonna fly my flag. There's been millions of people, innocent civilians and troops that have died for a flag, and I just don't give up my flag that easily. Whether I agree with the flag I'm under or not, I just have a sense of patriotism. Anyway, that Djokovic has, but look, this statement to me was kind of heart-moving. I've never heard it, and I tried my best to listen. I was writing a couple of notes there, so if I missed some nuggets, I apologize. He mentioned the Djokovic-Roddick thing. That was ugly. I don't want to go back to it, but a lot of it had to do with Roddick getting his panties in a wad because of some of Djokovic's impersonations. Roddick, I've been around Roddick in my time, a handful of occasions. I don't know the guy very well, but I've been in his presence at some exhibition things, Marty Fish and the Bryan brothers. Anyway, I wasn't a big part of it, just kind of on the outside, just helping out. But, you know, no disrespect to Roddick, but he's always been a little arrogant, a little cocky. His presence emanates that. Marty Fish, on the other hand, a beautiful soul. Marty Fish is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life, with a really wonderful story. And Roddick too, but Roddick's ego is a little bit differently, and Djokovic emanates soldier, and their egos conflicted. So it was ugly. It didn't need to go to that, but Djokovic and Roddick should have de-escalated. But Djokovic was still very young then. A young man with testosterone flying everywhere, and wasn't even near the superstar he is now.
Right.
So whatever. Who gives a shit? I mean, who gives a shit? I've done way worse. Anyway, what I want to mention about Novak Djokovic is his poise. When I grew up as a young tennis player, as a serve and volleyer, and my game changed to the strings and the rackets later in life, but we were always taught poise and grace, humility and sportsmanship. Why? Because we moved a lot and traveled a lot. We met people all over the place. And there's one thing that's constant on a tennis court. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. Again, north of the equator, south of the equator, eastern hemisphere, western hemisphere, this side of the wall, that side of the wall, whatever. You can recognize a tennis player. You can tell by the way they walk. You can tell by the way they present themselves. You can tell by the way they shake people's hands. You can tell. These are all things that we were brought up with as young players. I know your father taught you how to walk with your shoulders back, put books on your head, and my father did the same thing to my daughter. My sister, sorry. This is a prime example of the hardships that we live in the world today. I feel like Novak Djokovic, and as well as Rafael Nadal, as well as all these guys, are global superstars. But I do think there is a lot of geopolitics involved, and Djokovic is not so much in the limelight in the West because of exactly what he said. And we talked about this yesterday. It's unfortunate. However, I do hope that tennis as an international language can come into fruition, or can become less, I guess you could say, political in certain points. I mean, we've got Margaret Court and John McEnroe and Navratilova, global icons in the game, politically going after themselves across country lines. That was a mess. We did a show on that. And, so now we've got, Djokovic is liked in the East predominantly and in the West isn't. Because of what? Because it's been put in our history books that there was a horrible incident that happened there, and we won't get into that, but it's still very much current. So I implore anyone out there to study a little bit before we look at anyone in any sport across any line, to study a little bit historically. Doesn't matter what side of anything happened on, but Djokovic, I feel like, is an absolute perfect example of a sportsman. He has the right stuff. My father was a Navy pilot. He would always say, this guy's got the right stuff. You can tell by his demeanor, the way he acts, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he addresses people. He looks you in the eye. He has the right stuff. So does Federer have the right stuff. So does Nadal have the right stuff. So why is it that if they all have the right stuff, we don't see much of Djokovic's stuff in the West? That question is up to you guys. If it wasn't for this show, now when we first started this show, I admit, okay, it wasn't that I didn't know too terribly much about Novak. It's just that the only time I would see him was in finals against Federer or semifinals against Nadal or Federer, whatever. That's the only time you would see him on American TV. You wouldn't see him in the early rounds.
For me, that wasn't the reason. I think a lot of fans, that's the reason they don't like him, because they're either a Federer or Nadal fan. That wasn't the reason for me. For me, I didn't care about that. It was watching him in the beginning of his career, like what Mirko N said. He quit a lot of matches. I used to say, why is this guy doesn't finish the match? It seems like he never finishes the matches. To me, he was a bit disrespectful with the, fooling around too much in the beginning of his career. I think it's fine now. Now he has a name, so he proved it. But before, I didn't like him because of that. And then, again, I don't care about the Federer-Nadal thing. I never cared about that. I became a Federer fan much later on, too. I didn't like Federer when he used to win everything.
Well,
I was a Roddick fan.
You used to call him Crybaby.
He's a crybaby. He looked like a Cabbage Patch Kid. I used to tell him. I didn't like him. I learned to love both of them and respect both of them.
Yeah, but for me, and don't hate me on this, everyone out there, and Margarita Martinez out there, don't hate me for this one. Please, Margarita Martinez.
Well, she says he's not a Federer fan.
I got, look, you both of you guys, Margarita Martinez, and you can forgive me on this one, and anyone out there, Buenos Chia, something about Rafael Nadal, it's not him as a person. He's a beautiful person. He's a soldier. He's a raging bull. I get that, but from a coaching perspective, I just totally don't like his game at all. So it's really,
and that's okay.
It's really hard for me to genuinely buy into somebody if, number one, I don't like their game, because
that means you don't like Monica Seles' game.
Monica Seles, I couldn't stand her squeal. It blew my
like both sides, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Just like the Bartoli thing, and
Monica, we're not gonna all like the same players.
Monica Seles was so bad with the screech, man. I just couldn't do it even back then.
There's nothing wrong. Again, to all our viewers, people who watch, there's nothing wrong with liking one person better than the other one. We're all different. We're not all going to get along. We're not all going to like the same thing. Some people like chocolate. Some people don't. That's life.
Agreed. All right, so I thought that was a brilliant comment. A quick topic, and we spent a lot of time already, and I had a good time with that. So we're going to just try to push through this topic because we beat this horse before, and that's looking back real quickly at the next gen or the next generation kind of group that started in 2017. So the next gen finals, if you haven't seen this show, we have really gone off. Like, really just thumped them under the bus. The whole next-gen mindset, the whole tournament, the next gen now, or whatever that is. For me, since the onset of the next gen in 2017, since we've been doing the show, we're like, it's tennis, so we're fond of it because it's tennis, and more people get to see tennis, and that's great. It's a lovely sport. But to beef it up to be so important as the next group of guys that are going to beat the next or beat the big three for so long. So in 2007, next gen, these are the guys that are going to beat the big three. 2018, these are the guys that are going to beat the big three. 2019, these are the guys that
are we in?
And it's 2020, and we're still not even close. So to me, it's always been an exhibitionary, good chance for people to see some other players because they can't afford the big tickets, understandably, believe me. But it's always been cheesy to me. So what I did is I wrote down the next-gen finals from since the year of its inception, 2017. So let me roll through this real quick. And you tell me where these players are now in comments, okay? In comments, and your thoughts moving forward. 2017, the young man, the Korean Hyun Chung, who's been going through injury, so much respect there, but he won it that year against Rublev. In the final. Other players, Karen Khachanov, Denis Shapovalov, Borna Coric, much love, I wish he would do well. Jared Donaldson, Hyun Chung, who I just mentioned, Daniil Medvedev, and an Italian wildcard named Gianluigi Chienzi. I don't remember him at all, sorry. In 2018, Tsitsipas won it against De Minaur in the final. Okay, they're around. Tiafoe, where you at, bro? Taylor Fritz, who? I know who he is, but damn. Rublev again, okay. Jamie Munar, I like the guy, Spanish, but a grunt from hell. Sounds like he's take a dump on the court every time he hits the ball. Hurkacz. Hurkacz is a wonderful Polish player. He deserves, he's there. I think he could be top 10 soon. If not, he's knocking on the door already. And then another Italian wild card, Kari Ioana. I don't recall that player either. I'm sorry. Dumb me. Last year, De Minaur lost to Yannick Sinner, another Italian young man who has potential.
Yeah.
And De Minaur lost to Yannick Sinner in the final, respectively, there. Kasper Ruud, Kekmanovic, Serbian, right?
Yes.
Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, I think he's a Spaniard. Tiafoe Humbert, and Mikael Ymer, the young Swedish kid.
Yes.
I think in all of those, the people that have the most promise, obviously Tsitsipas, De Minaur is in there, but he's kind of been up and down. I think Tiafoe's has been in terms of global top 10 stuff. Fritz out, De Minaur out, sorry Munar, Hurkacz yes, Davidovich Fokina, Kekmanovic, Soldier, Serbian, what's up, Kasper Ruud, maybe, Michael Ymer just doesn't have the game. Yannick Sinner, he's young enough to be in the next gen and have a chance to win some majors. But what I don't think everyone remembers are the following statistics.
Well, before you go there was an article, and I'm sure a lot of people read it. Why Tsitsipas, Zverev, Medvedev cannot be the future three.
Mathematically.
They cannot be the future three. In other words, when Nadal and Djokovic and Federer leave, why can't they be the top three? I mean, we got Zverev who's 22. Tsitsipas is 21. Medvedev is 24. 24, you're already in your mid-career there, right there. He's there with Tia.
Yeah, and look, and to compete with, and to try to attain 16 or 17, 19, and 20 majors respectively, he'd be like 343 years old before he had a chance. Mathematically, it's nearly impossible.
Before you go there, Zverev has 11 career titles. The furthest he's gone in a slam was in 2020, this year, at the semifinals of the Australian Open. Everything else, he's been in a quarterfinals or a fourth round. This year, 0 titles. Last year, he won 1 title. 1 title. So the year before that, 2018, 4, 2017, 5, 2016. If we're looking at the way he's going, he went from 2 hot years to then all of a sudden just slowing down and winning career. People figuring out his game, you know? Not so hot anymore. Same thing if we go to Tsitsipas, 4 titles. The furthest he's made it was, we remember him beating
Federer,
yeah. He made it to the semifinals of the 2019 Australian Open. Before that, fourth round, and second round in the other slams. No Masters. He has no Masters, no big titles. Zverev has big titles, 3. Medvedev, this year, 0 titles.
It's early.
The furthest he's gone ever in a Grand Slam, as we remember, was the US Open.
Final, yeah.
But at the French Open, he can't seem to pass the first round. 4th round at Australian, 3rd round at Wimbledon. I mean, he's 24 years old. I don't see this happening at all.
It becomes at some point mathematically impossible to say that someone's the next in line for the big three. I don't think ever in history you're ever going to be able to use that term again. Do you, if you know kind of historically tennis, do you remember Lacoste and the likes of the French players, the Four Horsemen? Mm-hmm. And I forget the names of the Four Horsemen. Lacoste, give me another one.
It wasn't Fred Perry, was it?
No, I don't think he was.
Laver?
No, he was Australian. Look up the names of the Four Horsemen. They deserve the respect. Sampras at 15, or was it 14? He had 14, right? And then Federer took him at 15. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal for me as a boy. It was a big deal. You would think it would never be beaten. To have someone, or now to have three people that have beaten them, it's just going to be very tough to duplicate. So when people say the next big three, the next thing after the big three are gone, what are you expecting? I don't get what they're even expecting. That shouldn't even be a metaphor. It shouldn't even be definable, because there won't be. And that's my opinion there. There's not going to be another group of three guys that come up in roughly the same time, Djokovic being the youngest in terms of, again, the head-to-head battles and stuff, right? That's competitive ones.
So it was Lacoste, Henry Conchette, Jacques Bougon, and who's the other one? 1, 2, 3, and I don't see.
Oh, did I get it wrong? Is it the Three Horsemen? I don't know. But it just was a thought that popped into my head, just from being childhood studying the game. What do you expect?
Jean Borotra.
There you go.
I only remember Lacoste.
So what do you expect? I mean, honestly, is there a potential that there'll ever be three more guys in tennis history that'll roll off 20 majors in the same time frame? I mean, come on. That's too much to ask for. All I'm asking for is there to be some dominant players in the game when that occurs. And the next gen thing that they've pitched at us, and I wrote here earlier, in my opinion, I think advertising is just shit. It's all just bullshit. It's all designed for advertisements. It's all designed to sell tickets or concessions or $12 chicken sandwiches in the venue. And chicken sandwiches, by the way, the last U.S. Open I was at was in 2008, and then I went in 2007, but the chicken sandwich prices is crazy. It's like $12 for a chicken sandwich. It's like $5 for a Heineken. No, it's like $8 for a Heineken, $5 for a water. It's ridiculous. So what I'm getting at is the next gen thing to me has always been cheesy, except for the fans that enjoy it at jacked up rates that can afford to go. But I wrote to me, or last night, the next gen cheesy bullshit that we all had to lap up like muck out of a horse trough is now passing by in time. It's like every year there's a next gen, there's a next gen, there's a next gen, and where are they at?
Yeah, Shapovalov not doing so hot. Felix is doing good. He beat Badin. Didn't Badin beat Tsitsipas?
Yeah, no.
He's doing pretty good.
By the way, speaking of Badin, on yesterday's show we were talking about transplants, that go to another country and fly another flag. Badin is actually one of those gentlemen, and not disrespecting him at all, but he grew up in Slovenia. He moved relatively late in life. I mean, he's 30 years old. I want to say it was like 2007 or 8, in his 20s maybe. I might have that little ball. Moves to the United Kingdom, to Britain, attained citizenship. He played Davis Cup for Slovenia for, I think, 3 rubbers, which is like 3 matches. I don't know why they ever use that name, rubbers, but I need to look that up. I've always wondered that. Why is the Davis Cup matches called rubbers? So he played for Slovenia. He moved there. He got citizenship and actually played 2 years flying the British flag, as I understand. Don't chew me out if I'm wrong, but that's how I did the research. Played 2 years with the British flag, but not for the Davis Cup. And then he tried to play the Davis Cup for Britain, and then the ITF denied him the ability to do so because he had already played with Slovenia, and they changed the rule in 2015. So that's how recent this one is. So, it's things like that, and I read kind of, I don't know if it was a publicist for Badin or a writer for Badin, but I read that Badin felt like his tennis wasn't going further than it could go if he left Slovenia, and he was at a relatively kind of, 15, 16, I don't know.
And that's why that was my point, that there's players, I think somebody made an example, I don't know if it was this guy or Tennis Serve. Someone made an example yesterday of, it was sister to Queen, Taylor Townsend. The United States can't really help her. What about France offered her something? She would go there. She didn't see anything wrong with it.
But, okay.
And we're not going to do this again.
Yeah, we're not doing it again.
Because I got pounded yesterday.
Yeah, we're not doing it again. We're not doing it again. But I think you're a sellout if you...
You're not a sellout. Who cares?
Yeah, we're not...
You didn't read her comment. Read her comment.
I still would never change my flag.
Okay.
Never would do it. I don't give a shit. I would never change my flag.
You bleed the same, right? As I do.
I have patriotism. I'm not. I don't care where I'm born, whatever. That's my.
That's
duty.
not saying she doesn't have patriotism.
Too many people died from the place you live in to throw your flag away. Enough said. Okay. We're not going to get into warfare, but I do love warfare. Not like literally. I like the study thereof, and I grew up military. So anyway, all right. But back to the big three. Rafael Nadal won his first major at age 17. Novak Djokovic at the age 18 won his first ATP event. Made the semifinals of the French Open and Wimbledon. In 2007, I was there courtside for the Federer match. He lost in straight sets to Federer, but he made the U.S. Open final. In 2008, at age 21, his first Australian Open. Roger Federer in 2001 took out Pete Sampras at age 19. And then Roger Federer won Wimbledon at the young age of 22. So what I'm getting is all these next-gen people are past that. And these guys have been rolling off major after major every year for a long time. So it's really tough for the next generation to ever be a big three because it's mathematically impossible. They'd be like, again, and like really old to have to be able to do that. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, like Gene sent me a message, and I'm not going to read the whole message, but here he says, look, these guys won the ATP finals, and their careers just seem to be going down. You got Dimitrov, who won in 2017, and then you've got Tsitsipas, who won it, and his career just seems to be now kind of slowly dying. He's like, is it the ATP finals curse? Like Berrettini.
Yeah, well,
Berrettini, I'm sorry.
Berrettini is no different than Jack Sock being in the ATP finals. There's always the 8 seed that's always kind of the low and low totem pole.
And by the way, who got that stupid name Fidel? I really hate that.
Fidel. That sounds kind of
stupid. I feel like I'm listening to J-Lo with all the boyfriends she had. They would mix up the names. Stupid. Fidel. I really hate that.
Yeah, it's a cheesy name.
Fidel.
I used it on a show one time when I felt like I needed to go outside for a walk or something.
Yeah.
All right, we all set?
Yeah.
All right, so that's...
Oh, wait, before... I just have to say something. We were talking about the women's tennis, right? You know how we were all saying Slitovina was playing that...
Oh! Who dropped that? Was that this guy 1000?
No, that was B-Dog.
Was that B-Dog?
B-Dog sends me a message. Are you sure? No, B-Dog sends me a message today saying, can you believe Slitovina lost to Naomi Hibino 6-4, 6-2?
No.
She was the only top player to enter this tournament.
Yeah, no, but I think, and look, you'd have to go back and comment, and I think...
Someone sent us...
I think it was either this guy 1000 or it was... Tennis Sir. It was one of those two guys. I can almost... And if I got you wrong, let me know, and I'll correct it on the next show, which is hopefully tomorrow. I will correct that. But one of those guys sent a comment, and I don't do a lot of responding. It's not that I don't respond, but sometimes my head is just, it's hard for me. But she does like lights out. But I try to, so sorry if I'm short. But one of those guys said, I can't believe Svitolina is like trolling this tournament. If she doesn't, if she doesn't win, then wow, or she should like win it without even losing a game.
Yeah, she lost 4-2 to 80. She's ranked 84. This girl. Good
comment, bro. Forgot about that. Let me know who said that, and I'll correct it. Sorry. Anyway, so that's it. By the way, parting poem for you guys. Roses are red and violets are blue. We would have no show if not for you.
Oh.
Let's go! Take care. Please subscribe to our channel, by the way. It really helps, or at least it maintains like we're doing something right. Let's go. Take care. Peace out. Let's go. Come on. Vamos, Margarita. Vamos.